Shalom, everyone. I thought I would say a few words with regards to the, I would say, very shocking news. What's come in the headlines just over the last couple of hours, just browsing through the internet. News coming in from England. And I'll quote what is stated over here within regards to that. The British Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, announced Monday that the UK would be suspending some of its arms sales to Israel. This is what's quoted. I'm looking at Arut Sheva, Israel National News website at the moment, and they bring a video capture from Sky News in of itself, where they actually show a short video clip of David Lammy actually announcing this partial ban. UK announces partial ban on arms exports to Israel. So I obviously think this is a shocking. It's a very, very upsetting move that they've done this for so many different reasons. Over here, many people are not surprised within regards to that they've actually taken these measures. They did say that they might take measures or some sort of bans on Israel itself, and they have actually proven it since they've come into power, since they won the election in a landslide at the start of July. We see many different measures they have already taken place. They've also refunded UNRWA. That's also upset many, many different people after many of the reported atrocities that UNRWA had actually taken part on the 7th of October in of itself. It was reported over, and various other, let's say, terrorist-linked activities that they have been reported or investigated to have actually been participating of some of the people working high up in there respectively in of itself. So I'll just quote you, first of all, what the chief rabbi has said with his reaction within regards to this. I think he released this, it was on just Facebook, I just saw this now. I'll quote what it's written. It beggars belief that the British government, a close strategic ally of Israel, has announced a partial suspension of arms licenses at a time when Israel is fighting a war for its very survival on 7 fronts, forced upon it on the 7th of October, and at the very moment when 6 hostages murdered in cold blood by cruel terrorists were being buried by their families, as Israel faces down the threat of Iran and its proxies, not just to its own people, but to all of us in the democratic West. This announcement feeds the falsehood that Israel is in breach of international humanitarian law, when in fact it is going to extraordinary lengths to uphold it. Sadly, this announcement will serve to encourage our shared enemies. It will not help to secure the release of the remaining 101 hostages, nor contribute to the peaceful future we wish and pray for all people in the region and beyond. He does say at the end, let's have a message of hope, of unity within the two areas in of itself. Britain and Israel have so much to gain by standing together against our common enemies for the sake of a safer world. Surely that must be the way forward. Obviously, many people will totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Also over here, and it actually is reported over also in Arut Sheva news website, some of the reactions within regards to some of the Israeli officials, Israeli MKs, the Knesset members, respectively. I think Dan Iluz from the Likud party, Likud obviously is Benjamin Netanyahu, the current Prime Minister of Israel, obviously is the head of the Likud party. He says the UK's decision to suspend arms export license to Israel is a betrayal of the free world. Also, the current Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, actually said, deeply disheartened to learn of the sanctions placed by the UK government on export licenses to Israel's defense establishment. This comes at a time when we fight a war on 7 different fronts, a war that was launched by a savage terrorist organization unprovoked. And he will go on to say more also. Also, the foreign Minister of Israel, Israel Katz, of himself, I think also obviously naturally representing the Likud party, also quotes, Israel is disappointed by the British government's recent series of decisions, including the latest decision regarding security exports to Israel. The British government's decision to withdraw its request to submit an amicus brief to the ICC and its stance on UNRWA, as well as the UK's recent conduct and statements in the UN Security Council, and the echoes at the end. Israel is a law-abiding state that operates in accordance with international law and has an independent and respected judicial system. We expect friendly countries such as the UK to recognise this all year round, especially just days after the Hamas terrorists executed 6 Israeli hostages during intense negotiations for the release of the hostages and for a ceasefire. And in light of the recent threats by the Iranian regime to attack the state of Israel. Obviously, the Minister Katz actually said in of itself. He does conclude at the end, once again, with a vision of hope, that we hope that the deep friendship between the UK and Israel, which has been maintained throughout all the years since the founding of the State of Israel, naturally in the year 1948, will continue in the future. Katz concluded over here. That's what's quoted over here. Just some thoughts within regard to this. Yeah, I think it's... I'm absolutely shocked by this because, I'm just looking at a reaction on various bulletin boards on Facebook, especially on some of the British Israeli groups. Many people are very saddened. People are saying they're not surprised by this. Some people are saying, how dare the people that voted for Labour, the party, the Jewish people that did it over here. But look, no one was great. We saw the Conservative Party. It's true, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, did say, we want Israel to win, and was stressing all these key phrases throughout how much they were supporting Israel. I personally didn't think David Cameron was so friendly towards Israel. He could have been much better, in my opinion, personally. Many people will also share that. Also, he wanted to reward the Palestinians with a Palestinian state. He had the Cameron Declaration over there. So if you look at it, the other political parties also, they were not fantastic also. But over here, I'm absolutely very surprised because Keir Starmer, the current Prime Minister, did say he wants to uproot anti-Semitism, but isn't targeting Israel over here, and a country, a democratic country, fighting on 7 fronts and trying to get back the hostages and trying to rip up a terror structure network that is basically on the doorstep after the horrors of 7th of October. That is the most moral thing, to try and defeat what's going on over here. England should be embracing Israel over here, should be supporting unequivocally Israel over here. That is my opinion over here. And I think these moves, which David Lammy has actually announced today, I think it's really, really upsetting. I think it's shocking. Personally think it's very, very extreme. And, if they're doing this now within regards to 7 weeks into their 5-year potential premiership, and it could be much, much more longer. It is worrying what could be brought about in years to come. So that's my thing. What can we do about this, sir? We need to keep advocating and defending Israel the whole time. We should be a loud voice. We need speech. I think it was once there was a great politician, there was a debate between 2 people, and one of the person was saying, what do you do when you're being drowned by so many falsehoods and so many wrong expressions? You give more speech, truthful speech. One thing, a coin I saw phrase just recently, why not be a drop of truth in an ocean of lies? I saw this phrase over here. That's all we can do. Emet, which is what we say. Truth is what we can do over here. And we are fighting over here a war that we didn't want over here. We've suffered many years, a few thousand years. We're defending our homeland. We are the indigenous people. We were here for 2,000 years. Plus, it's promised to us in the Bible, Israel is. And there's a falsehood out there that's saying that Israel is causing this. And people are blaming Netanyahu for everything. He's a democratically elected leader over here. But what would the other Israeli prime ministers do in a case like this also? Surrender over here? He, at the moment, seemingly, I think he's making the correct decisions, because obviously if they give up the Philadelphia corridor, we saw that could potentially totally bring Hamas back to a high level again. There are all these different factors that are brought in. And do we exchange... obviously, we are all davening and we want the hostages now back unconditionally. But at what price do we give? Because if it's the crazy demands that the other people are asking for over here, this events could happen at a much worse rate in a couple of years down the line over here. So you've got to think long term. So it's not so easy to do. Obviously, what we could do also is we could daven, we could pray that they return unconditionally, pray that the Israeli army will make all the correct moves and rescue the hostages. Pray also that all the heroic soldiers out there will be safe also, and there'll be peace in the world. And Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to see the rebuilding of the third Beit HaMikdash, and brachot and blessings from Israel and all over the world. We want a prosperous world over here, a healthy world, and we want to see just good things happening, and we want to see us celebrating and just seeing good things. A country enriched in mitzvot, in Torah, and ma'asim tovim, good deeds. So I'll leave it there over here, friends. Just sharing a few thoughts within regards to this. I'm Yisrael Chai to everybody, and blessings from Israel.